I'm Evan the counselor, and this is how to change a habit with the approach I created called the tripod method. I found that when people are successful at changing a habit, there are three variables in place. Number one, they have the motivation. Number two, they have a plan. And three, they have accountability. I call this the tripod method of change. When it comes to the motivation to change a habit or routine, it's not so black and white. Part of us wants to change and reap the benefits of healthier behaviors, but the other part likes the ease and comfort of the behaviors we're used to. This is called ambivalence. I want to, but I don't. I work with clients to think about all the negatives of staying the same and especially focus on the positives of the new behavior. All you need is at least 51% in favor of change to get started. Then we have a plan. Having a plan and preparing to implement it makes change easier. Changing unhealthy habits is always difficult and you need every edge you can get. Having a good plan in place and being prepared helps making the right decision easier in the moment. Accountability is the third leg, as it increases your chances of following through. Whether it's telling your friends or family that you intend to make a change or checking in with your therapist weekly, you are adding a level of accountability you would not normally have trying to make changes on your own. Researchers Prochaska and DiClemente created a model called the Stages of Change, which is broken down into 5 parts. We will use the example of trying to eat healthier to outline the Stages of Change model and how the tripod method is incorporated. First, we have the pre-contemplation stage of change. This is before you have a desire to form a new habit. You are okay with the current routines, healthy or not, like eating out for every meal. Then you have contemplation. This is when you're in the ambivalent stage of change of, I want to, but I don't. In this case, it may be that you really like eating out, but really want to be healthier. This is where the first leg of motivation comes into play. Here's where you can do those motivation building exercises like envisioning the benefits you will get from the change as a means to take the first steps. Second, you have the preparation stage of change. This is where the second leg of the tripod, a plan, comes into play. In this case, you may work with a nutritionist or coach to make a meal plan. You look up recipes and have them ready to go. You set aside times to cook and go grocery shopping. You buy the crock pot and Tupperware. Now, after a long, exhausting day, everything is in place for you to make the healthy decision easier. Now it's time to enter the action stage of change. Taking action is executing the plan. This is doing the meal prep and avoiding the restaurants. Further, this is where you can incorporate the accountability leg of the tripod, such as meeting with your nutritionist weekly and telling your partner of the intention and potentially getting them on board. This is the hardest stage of change because you are forming new connections in your brain and rewiring the habit loop. It's like learning to ride a bike for the first time. Once you make the new routine a habit, you're now in the maintenance phase. This is where the new habit is formed and you just need to keep the ball in the air. It's easier to maintain change than forming a new habit, but it requires you to be diligent and not let your guard down. This is where having long-term accountability helps prevent you from sliding back into old habits. The last stage of change is what we're trying to avoid, which is relapse. Relapse does not have to be part of the process, but it often is. We often fall back into old patterns, and it's okay as long as we quickly get back on the horse and go back to the plan that made us successful in the first place. Or often we need to tweak the plan to avoid the traps that led to the relapse. When you take the tripod approach, you're setting yourself up for success by not having to rely solely on willpower. Just remember to focus on the positive benefits of change to motivate you when the going gets tough. You got this. I'm Evan the counselor, and that was how to change a habit using my tripod approach. If you liked that video, be sure to follow me on my other socials for more mental health content.